Let me unmute myself. Hey, how's everyone doing? Welcome. Welcome to Bravo with Sheila. I'm excited. You know, guys, I stay excited, but I'm super excited tonight. I am so glad that you're here. Thank you so much for being here. Those of you that are in the chat, those of you up in the bleachers, the balcony, and if you paid a lot of money, you might be in the orchestra seat. Thank you so much for being here. I hope when you came in, you hit that thumbs up. That thumbs up is important to us, our YouTube people, the creators. We are needing that thumbs up to be hit because it pushes the algorithm. It moves the content. Listen, it's going to be a great night. We got Karen. We got Karen in the house. Listen, we got Karen in the house. I'm telling you, this beautiful sister. I'm telling you, we feel like we'd have known each other forever and ever. We've chatted and we just connected. What a connection. We know here at Bravo, this is a seeker friendly. Anybody can come here and get built up. I'm here to help you move from pain to power and from power to victory. Also here to enrich, enlighten, educate, give knowledge, and just bask together in each other's presence. I'm excited, so excited tonight because we had so many issues yesterday, but guess what? I'm not that girl that gives up, and neither is Karen. And so she is in the house. She is in the house. I don't even want to set it up. I don't even want to backdrop her. I don't even want to tell you all the things about her because I want her to say it to you. We're going to bring her up. Let me tell you, yesterday was a lot going on, but today is a new day, new mercies we see every day. And so we are so excited. We have the chat going on. People are here. Let's see who's in the house. Woo, we got folks here. We got, oh my goodness, we got some folks here. Let me just greet some of the folks. You know, we have to do some housekeeping things here, and that's being very cordial, having a little bit of etiquette. Oh, yeah. And those of you up in the bleachers, I don't know your name, but you're here. Mwah. Thank you for being here. We got Steve Kwanku in the house. He has been trailing and teaching me and talking about Africa with me. I'm going to put that comment up in a few minutes, Steve. We got David Hunt in the house. Listen, if you don't know about David Hunt, every Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays on YouTube, you are missing out live on the keys, on the vocal, anointed, beautiful. So before you leave here, I want you to go and I want you to subscribe to David Hunt. You will not be sorry. He comes on early shall I seek thee, right? Yeah, he's up early singing and playing. Oh my God, I can't even tell you. Just go head over there. And we have Denise Nisi Yakoman in the house. Go mommy, must be your daughter in the house. I'm going to bring her up. Let me bring her up before. I'm excited. Let me just bring her to the platform. Here she is, the beautiful Karen
Oh.
in Ghana. She is here. Hello, my sister.
Hey, hello. I'm just cheesing. Listen to your energy is so great. It just has me smiling the whole time.
Listen, beautiful lady, we are so happy that you are here. People are greeting you in the chat. You got people up in those balconies. They might be in the bushes. We don't have bush people here. The people don't hide in the bushes on this channel. They are visible. They're just sitting back chilling. They're just looking. They don't feel like typing, but they are here. So I'm really excited. And I was reading some of these comments, finally catching a live. David Hunt, you are in the house. Denise Nisia Coleman. Hey, she says, let's put this up. Let's start out the gate, putting up your greetings and everything. She's saying excited to
Oh.
see Karen's interview. Go, mommy. All right.
Yeah, that's my daughter,
That's
my
your
oldest
daughter,
daughter.
your oldest
Yeah,
daughter.
they support me really well.
That is so wonderful, Karen. And we got my ride or die here. And hey, Nina is here. She's saying, hey at Bravo with Sheila. She is always here. I look amazing. Thank you. This is a throw together. I'm having all these do problems, but guess what? Thank God for these little scarves. All right, we got
Yeah.
somebody else in the house here. We have someone, Jesse with the T. Jesse with the T. And I hope I'm saying it right. Hello to
Yep.
you too. So glad you're here. We have my spiritual daughter in the house, Taisha Abram. This is a daughter of mine, and it's like I pushed her out of my own womb. That's how close she is to me and to my heart. Yes, God sent her into my life. I'm so happy she's here. And then we have they're greeting each other, Karen, and they're saying hello to each other in the chat. That's how we do it here. And then who do we have? What do we have here? We have, okay. Let's put this one up, Karen, before we get into it. Model Mentor by Rachel Lauren. Hey, so
So
excited to see Ed Karen in Ghana. All right, your people are here.
Rachel's my daughter as well, and so is Jessie with the T.
Oh, so all three of your daughters are in the house today.
Yes.
All right, three daughters. Thanks for being here supporting your mommy. They're saying, hey, mommy, hey, mommy, hey, mommy. That's what, greetings. We got Mimi's in the house. Mimi, greetings. Greetings to you. Kim Cooper, shalom. Back to you. Big
No,
sis. She says,
what's this?
yes, sis. Okay, all right.
The family's all here.
Family's in the house tonight. This is incredible. We got someone who's wonderful here in these YouTube streets. You guys, I'm shouting out all my people who are content creators and who have channels on YouTube. Critically Drinking. I was on his platform last week, I think it was. He had a great time talking about ambiguous loss and counseling situations and everything. It was awesome. Good evening to you, Rashawn. Thank you. Passing through. Much love to you too. Much love to you too. And let's see what Ine is saying. She says, please be sure to support and subscribe to David Hunt. She's the moderator for the night. She's moderating and helping me. So there it is. I'm sure we'll have, and my daughter's sending hearts. I'm going to put your hearts up, daughter. I love you. All right. So listen, we want to get into this. Last night, no, I can't forget Steve. Steve was the first one in the house, and let's put up his comment. You ready, Karen, for his comment? Auntie Karen, as he calls you. All right.
Yeah.
It says, I'm waiting for my Auntie Karen to show up. Auntie Karen is now full-blooded Ghanaian.
Yes, I am.
What happened yesterday? This kind of situation. This kind of situation happens so many times daily in Ghana. Auntie Karen.
Oh, okay. Steve got jokes, huh?
Steve got jokes, Karen. He got jokes. And some of you were here yesterday, last night, and we did have a moment. We sure did. But guess what? We recovered. We recovered. Bravo, my name. Okay. She's your neighbor. Mimi is your neighbor. Okay.
Oh, that's Dr. Mimi. Yes.
Yeah. She
Hey.
says she's your neighbor.
Yes, she is.
All right. Awesome.
And good friend. Yes.
That's awesome. So wonderful. Okay, Karen. Okay, where do we start with you, my sister? It's so much. It is just so very much. I want to give a shout out to Steve for connecting me with you.
Yes.
I want to give a huge shout out to him for just seeing my heart for Africa and my interest for Africa, because we're doing this Africa series on the Bravo platform. This is session 3, I think it is. And I'm going to continuously do sessions and broadcasts about Africa, bringing people from Africa, bringing people who move from the US to Africa, bringing people who live in Africa, their views on certain things. Steve has given me, I mean, when I say a list, because you already told me, he's given me so much information and stats to talk about. He's corrected me on some things in these US territories, how they do stats that are not true. Right. So last night, Karen, I was saying certain things from Google, and Steve would get in the chat and say, Sheila, no, that stat is not true. So I started saying allegedly. Steve was checking me. I started saying allegedly to Google. That's right, because we had Steve in the chat. We got Rosa Griffin in the house. Hello, Pastor Griffin. Good to see you. Good to see you. And we have someone here, James and Avita Byers. Hello, Shalom Karen, and so good to see you on. All right, you got the house rocking and rolling. You got people up in the balcony and in the orchestra. You got people in the chat. Bravo. So we're spotlighting
Yeah,
you tonight, giving you your flowers now. And so let's,
thank
oh, okay, Karen. Okay. Let's just jump in. Where shall we start? Let's talk about your journey. Let's talk about your journey from the US a little bit, talk about where you were born and raised, and then we can segue into how and why you moved to Ghana. And then from there, we'll talk about the building of the house and all the wonderful things you already know about Ghana. So let's tap in, and I'm sure there'll be some questions inside of the chat at some point. So let's just relax. You got your cool beverage there. I got my little
yes, I'm ready.
and okay, let's go for it, sis. There you go. So you jump in and tell us the backdrop of who Karen in Ghana is.
Okay, so thank you so much, Sheila, for having me on. First of all, this is really a pleasure for me to be on with you. So, and like you said, we've already connected, like we're sisters now,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, but I'm originally from Washington D.C. That's where I was born, and I lived in, for some who may know, northeast area of D.C. And then as I got older, I moved to Richmond, Virginia, and then from Richmond, Virginia, down to Raleigh, North Carolina. I was going with my job, so I worked for Cigna Health Insurance for 31 years,
Mm,
and so in human resources, and so I traveled, and that's where I ended up before I retired.
mhm,
um, as far as my journey to Ghana, oh, it was amazing to me. So I heard about free land that was being given in the year of return in 2019.
mm,
That if you came to Ghana, the president said that there would be land that you could have for free. You pay a administrative fee. And so I heard about it online, and I ended up doing everything online, and I got the land. And then after I did that, then I heard that there was going to be a group of people that were going to Ghana, and it was Ronald Dalton, the author of the book Hebrews to Negroes,
mhm,
and him and some other Hebrew Israelites, which is my faith,
mhm,
um, or my culture, my and so I decided I would go. I just really felt led, by the Most High to go,
mhm.
and a whole lot that was happening in between that, but just for the sake of time, I'm just giving you the short version.
But you have
And so,
time. You have time.
oh,
There is no clock ticking for
oh,
you, Karen. You have
oh,
time.
okay, all right. Well, as I was becoming more and more awake to who I was, I did my DNA like we talked about earlier. You did yours, and you saw that you had a lot of Ghanaian background, and so I did my DNA, and I knew that part of mine was Ghana. It wasn't as much as some of the others, like Cameroon.
Mhm,
I think was even more, but it was all the West Coast,
mhm,
right? And so in my studies, I had seen, learning about the slave trade and seeing that right there where they had the Gold Coast and then they had the Ivory Coast, right? And then they had the Slave Coast. But
mhm,
right above the Slave Coast was the tribe of Judah. It
mm,
was the kingdom of Judah. It was a little space. So if you go back to the older maps, you find that. So that really piqued my interest in with my belief, my faith. And
mhm,
so when we came over here, it was about 20 Hebrew Israelites. None of us knew each other
mhm,
when we came over. I say a couple of people knew each other, but for the most part we didn't. But by the time we got together and we knew it was divine intervention of the Most High that we all came together and we talked about getting land here together and having a community.
mhm,
And so we all purchased land together. We came to a Cebu, that's where the Pan African Village is, and the Pan African Village is where you could get the land for free for, again, like for an administrative fee, but they gifted you the land.
Wow.
And so that was so, exciting for us. So we got to come here and I saw where my land was. And while we were here, the the person who brought us here and did the tour, he gave us the history, the oral history of a Cebu, and he talked about how during the slavery time in the Bible, with in Egypt,
Mm-hmm.
when Moses um, parted the Red Sea, well, the Most High parted the Red Sea through Moses,
Mm-hmm.
and the people were going through the Red Sea. Some people at the end did not go through, and when the waters came crashing down, some of these Israelites were stranded on the other side,
Yeah.
and that the person who was in charge of the army for Pharaoh, he had told his soldiers to go through, and then when he saw everything that happened, he became a believer. He was like, "Your God is the God," so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So, long story short, the again, this is oral tradition that has come down,
This is wonderful.
through
Keep going.
the generations. Yeah, and so they all followed him. He was a huge, like a really big, strong, powerful military leader, and so he brought them, and over time they migrated to Ghana,
Ah,
right to this, right to this place in the Cebu. And actually, his name was a Cebu. They made him their king, and he became the king of Asebu. So as we're standing there, and he's saying this and telling us this, and he was saying that this very land that you're standing on, your ancestors, Hebrew Israelites, came here, and you're standing on the same land that they stood on at that time. So that was like phenomenal to us, and just kind of blew our minds. So me, I kind of went back and I said, well, I'm gonna Google this and see, but it's out there.
yes.
Um, yeah, so that was so exciting, and that started my spiritual desire, to come back. So by the time I was here, like I think like 2.5 weeks, by the time I finished, and was on my way back home, I had already talked to someone about building my house. I had already talked about how I was going to retire, and I mean, the plans were just in motion. And I was just saying to Abba, if you really, if this is you, then you got to make it work for me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And and he did. So he worked it out. So when I came back, I was able to get a severance package from my job
Mm-hmm.
that was twice the amount, twice the time. So usually you get a year. I got 2 years of severance
Whoa.
and did not have to work, and I could take all that money and build my home. So he set it up for me.
Set
And
it
so
up.
he did. He set it up, and I was amazed. And my family first was like, "You doing what? You're going to Ghana? Are you crazy? Whatever." But then over time, they all began, especially my children, they began to know. They know how I follow the Most High and have all pretty much all their life, right? They've seen me, so they know if I say something, as hard as it was for them for me to leave,
Yeah.
um, they supported me. They supported me, and even at the end, my mom even supported me to come. Where at first she was a little hesitant,
I'm
like, you
sure.
going over there with those lions and elephants, and
That's the lie.
because yeah, because we know the stereotype that they hear, it's so dangerous over there. What are you going to do over there? But after a while, she was fine with it. And now, she sees that it's not like she thought.
It's a
So
God
that's
thing. It was a God thing
yeah,
for you, and you felt immediately inside you, your spirit spoke to the land, and the land spoke to you. You
yep,
felt
yep,
that pulling, and those type
yeah,
of experiences outside of you, people don't understand it, nor can they feel it
yeah.
because it's a personal revelation that
That's
happens
right. That's
within
right.
you.
When I landed and we got outside, where the people they had the dancers to come and greet us and to welcome us. And they were saying, Aquaba, Aquaba, welcome home, welcome home. I tell you, it's something that just like became solid within my soul.
Mhm.
And I just knew that I knew that this was home for me. And
Yeah.
then as you're riding along and you see people that look so much like you and look so much like your family. I mean, I was doing double take because I saw somebody that looked so much, almost like exactly like my sister. And then
Wow.
I saw other people, that looked like my dad. And I was like, this is home. This is my home. Finally, I know where I'm from.
That's
So
amazing. That's amazing, Karen. And I know the whole leaving of the family, that's hard, because especially
Ooh,
the children and just people, like, what do you mean? What do you mean you're leaving?
yeah,
But
yeah. My
when they
children and my 16 grandchildren I left.
how many?
Uh, 16.
You you have
That was the hardest
16
part. Yeah.
grandchildren? Oh, praise
Yeah.
God. 16 grandchildren.
Yes.
Amazing.
And
Amazing.
and 5 great grandchildren now.
Karen,
So
you are
yes,
blessed.
yes, I am. My quiver is full, as they say, right?
Yes, yes, that's so awesome. Okay, so now you go and your severance pay. Look, God fixed that because you got
Yeah.
double. You got double,
Yep.
and you went back. They probably was like, "Wait a minute, you just went on a trip. What do you mean you're quitting? What do you mean you're
Yeah.
leaving? Like, what happened to
Yeah.
you over there?" They were probably shocked.
Yeah, they were shocked. They were like they were thinking that, I would go visit but not, but it just became it was such a pull, like you were saying earlier, and it was so natural for me
Yeah,
to to just keep making that step. And I wasn't sure. I mean, you don't know,
you don't
like
know.
especially
Yeah,
like you said, when the Most High, is calling you to do something, you don't know what next step you're going to take. It's sort of like Abraham, when he said, "Get up and go," and you're like, he was probably like, "Where?" And
exactly.
just go. My daughter was calling me Abrahamina.
Oh my God, but I'm sure now they've traveled and visited you and saw the
Yeah,
work you've done and where you are. So I
yeah,
think that is so awesome. Okay, so now you're there, you know the land you're going to build on, and you start building while you're in the States. I'm sure you started building and you were home in
yeah.
the States, or did you build while you were in Ghana?
I started building when I was in the States, but then I moved to Ghana before I was done.
Okay,
And I stayed with the builder and his wife for 5 months. And that was Mikiel and Keziah, the traveling Israelite. He has his own YouTube channel. And
okay.
so I stayed with them. They graciously allowed me to stay. And let me just throw this in when I came, my daughters, two of my daughters and two of my grandsons came with me because they wanted to make sure I was going to be okay, see where I was going to be staying and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
Well, when it was time to leave, neither one of my grandsons wanted to go back. One was 17 and one was 19 to almost 20. And they neither one of them wanted to go back. So my older grandson, Zay, he ended up staying. He said, "I have nothing. I don't want to go back." So he lives with me here now. And so does CJ, my other grandson. He just
Oh,
came back a couple of months ago and to live. They love Ghana. They love it here.
wow. So young people love it as well. It doesn't matter the
Yeah,
age. You can just
yeah.
feel what's the presence of what's there. Your daughter Denise said some of your grandchildren are watching now. That's what she put in the comment
Oh,
just now. You can say hello to your grandchildren if you like.
hey, I know Alexis and Zoe. Anybody else? I don't know who else would be. Trey, I don't know. But some of my other grandkids is
Yeah.
JJ and some of
Wow.
the others. Oh,
They're
that's
watching. They're watching. They're proud of you.
yay.
Yes. So okay. So now here we are. Your house is built. You're settled, and then you become Karen in Ghana. You become
Yeah,
the Karen in Ghana, the beautiful woman from the US. And that's
yeah,
when I guess when did, because I know that you bring people to Ghana, they come to Ghana, your friends, some of your friends come and visit and you show them around. You also
yeah.
advise them on land and if they want to build. You also know what's going on in Ghana, the hot topics, what's going on. You are alert of everything. You get around by yourself, which might have been a little scary in the beginning,
Yes,
learning how to move
yes.
around. Because I remember when I was in Ghana, there is so many cars on the road. There's so
Ooh,
much traffic and so many cars on the road, but no one has
they
crashes.
drive
It's
so
like
crazy.
they drive
They just
really.
drive like this. They just drive like right up on each other and everything. So I said I would never drive in Ghana.
Mhm.
And guess who's driving in Ghana?
You are.
Yes.
You are.
Uh,
So tell us a little bit about your experience with other people coming from the US and what they experience. How do you assist people that come over, people that you know, and I guess some people you don't know? Exactly what are you doing in Ghana right now?
okay, so I have my house is set up as an Airbnb.
Okay.
Okay, so now my two grandsons are back, but when they were back in the States for a while, I was renting out. I have still have the one room, but I was renting out the three bedrooms along the side, and I had people who would come and stay. And I would also help them in any way that I could. Like if you're going to come to Ghana, certain things you're going to need, like you're going to need your Ghana card, you're going to need your residency, you're going to need bank account, all those kind of things. And I just really just jumped right in and started helping people
Mhm.
get those things. I also shared with people, like if they were interested in getting land,
Right.
I would tell them different people that they could go to. But as life would have it, one of the person who was the painter for my home was also had a background in construction and building homes, and so we ended up partnering together to start our own company, Africa Bar,
Right.
construction and management services. And so we build homes for people, and we have land that we sell as well. So there are some people who want to be in the Pan African Village, and I will refer them to people that I know here.
Mhm.
But then there are others. Our first community is Hebrew Heritage Community. And
Okay.
so that first community is for other Hebrew Israelites who want to come home and want to be in a community together,
Yes.
because for us, we follow the feast that's in the Bible. We don't follow the traditional holidays, and
Mhm.
so it made sense for us to have a community where we could
Absolutely.
all and share those, live that life together. So I'm really excited about it. We have people who have already purchased, and actually we had one mother and daughter who wanted to come, and they needed to be here in 2 months, and so they asked if we could build their home in 2 months. So we actually built their two-bedroom house in 2 months and 10 days, which was
Wow.
a yeah, and it's a beautiful place. If you go to my Karen and Ghana YouTube channel, you'll see the house and the whole
Absolutely.
process of what we did. But
And
so
those,
now we,
yeah, go ahead. Go.
we're
No.
looking at
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
it for others, and we also have a diasporan section that we're getting ready to open up, of land for people, because we want everybody to be able to participate in what we're doing in Ghana in terms of having community and being together.
Absolutely. I think that is so beautiful. What's it like for people who are listening and will listen later? Say someone has the unction or the desire to
Hmm.
move to Africa, move to Africa,
Yeah.
and they say, oh my God, I cannot, it's going to cost so much money. I have to wait until I get a certain amount of money before I go. From what I understand, that is not true. From what I understand, you don't need a lot of money to start you off. Tell us a little bit about what the money is like, equivalent to the US money, and what's it
Okay.
like to say rent. I understand from what Stephen, you had mentioned to me, to rent a home for a year would be little or nothing. Share a little bit about that.
Yeah, so for some people, it may be more of a challenge depending on their income level. But you can rent a home in Ghana, say like a 2 or 3 bedroom house, for as little as 250, 300 a month, and sometimes even less than that if you get a smaller place. One thing you do is you pay for the whole year. Sometimes they'll do 6 months, but they prefer a whole year. So you have to pay that money up front. But then once you've paid your rent for a year, I mean, you're set. So that gives you a chance to come here, find your niche, start a business, or do what you are called to do. If you feel like you're going to do ministry work, or you're going to work a job.
Mhm.
But I would say we encourage people to come here and fulfill their dream. So like if you have something that you always wanted to do, but you couldn't do it in where you live in the States or in the West, then maybe you can do it here because it's so much less money. $1 right now is equivalent to $11.30.
Mm.
So if you have $1, then you have 11. So if you have $1,000, then you have $11,000 over here in Ghana. So that makes it a lot easier.
Absolutely.
However, you still got to understand that some things are going to cost sort of the equivalent of things in the States.
Hmm.
But some of the things that I'd like to share with people is that as you are riding up and down the road, you see coconut trees, you see mango trees, you see papaya, oranges, lemons, and you can just pick that. It's so abundant. So, people think about, they hear all this stuff about, the poverty and people starving and things. Well, and there is some of that, but you can just go and you can eat every day by just going out. I can go just up the road and get oranges and coconuts. Coconuts are growing right across the street from me. So you get fresh coconut water every day. And, so it's a land of plenty, in terms of the fruit and the vegetables, and everything grows so well out here. I remember someone saying that they gave somebody watermelon and then they was eating it and spit out the seeds, and then the next thing you know, a week later, they had watermelon growing in their yard.
Wow.
Yeah, just that quick, right? Just that easy. So it's a beautiful place. But going back to cost, you
Hmm.
do have to be mindful because there are a lot of people who have come without a strategy, without a plan, and then they get discouraged, and something may happen where they may need to use more of their money, and then they find themselves without money.
Hmm.
So I would say, you really want to have a plan
Hmm.
before you come, unless you're like me and the Most High say, get up and go. And then you got to
Exactly.
but I still had a plan. I
Yeah.
knew I was going to build my house and I thought I was going to retire and just kind of, work with the children and
Yeah.
things like that. But the Most High had other plans.
And
No,
you
you're going
got
to
a
be,
whole nother, but
yeah,
it's awesome, Karen, because now your family gets to be exposed to something they probably never would be able to. No, I won't say never, but because of
yeah,
how God has planted you there and had you spread out now to where you have so many branches to help so many people, not just here in the US, but there in Ghana, and your
yeah,
grandchildren, 16 grandchildren and great grands. And I mean, the heritage of where they come
yeah.
from. I mean, and that is so rich and so powerful. And one of the things I think you mentioned to me as well is that when you have a house or you build a house, or say you're going to rent a house, you can rent a beautiful, beautiful home and
Yeah.
say rent it for that year, and say you want to go away for 6 months, you can turn around and rent it out. And so your
Hmm.
home is making money for you. There's no stipulation
Right.
to stop you from making money from your investment, which I think is awesome.
Yes. Yes, that is so true. You can do that, and you can. It's so easy to start a business, and I know that's like easy compared to what, right? But
I know what you
um, a lot of people have come here and opened up like what they call cold stores, which is like a meat market,
mean.
because there are a lot of farmers who have chickens or cows, and so they can get the meat at really reasonable prices, the eggs. And so they open up markets and they do very well. And then they also employ the local people. And that's the thing that we really want to keep the focus on as well, is that when we come home, we have the resources much more than they do. So we don't want to just build a big house, put up a big wall around it, and
Mhm.
be living in a compound. And you want to give back. You
Yes.
want to hire people, like, your cab drivers, have someone come maybe and clean your yard, or cut down your weeds or whatever, and
Mhm.
use the local people as much as you possibly can. And I
That's
think that is so
beautiful.
yeah. And you do it and you don't realize how much they appreciate it. At my birthday party, a young man asked if he could have the mic near the end, and he said that to me, thanked me for coming to Ghana and giving opportunities to the young people, because I have a young man that helps me. His name is Possible, and he helps me out. And he said, and you've given Possible this job, and now he can help feed his family, and
Wow.
you've given work to others, and he was saying, and he turned to the rest of the my friends, the diasporans that were there, and he was just thanking them. He was saying, "You don't realize how much we appreciate you coming to
That's
help us
awesome.
to have a better life."
That
That's
is so,
beautiful.
oh, that's so beautiful, and
Yeah.
I just think it's awesome. I think it is so awesome. And when you have your home and everything, because we know in the States how much it costs is monthly for your household,
Yes.
right? So we know that the
Yes.
cable and the water and the electric,
Mhm.
what are those bills like generally um in homes?
Well, and if you're building a home, you pay as you go. So there's no mortgage. Now they are starting to do mortgages more here, but still pretty much for the most part you pay as you go. You build your home, you send money, or if you're here you're giving money until your home is built. And once your home is built, you have no mortgage. I mean, just think about that. You have no mortgage, you have no rent payment. And then I have a borehole, or what we call a well. So I have well water, so I don't have to pay for water. I have solar, and so I use that to kind of offset my electric. And the biggest bill I have right now is my Wi-Fi. So,
Go figure,
so
right?
that,
The wife,
yeah, with my two grandsons here, I need to keep Wi-Fi going.
I'm sure, yes, you do. You will have a
But
problem if you don't have Wi-Fi with young
right.
people.
So I mean, that's the other part of it that I think people really want to think about. You know, your standard of living becomes so much better. And then the other big thing about coming home or coming to Ghana or any other African nation, you will realize that the stress will leave you,
Mm,
and you don't even realize. I mean, oh, so I could speak for myself. I didn't realize how much of a burden it was on me. The stress of just the day-to-day grind, and then the stress of having so many grandsons and not knowing if they're going to get shot, or if they're going to get locked up, or for something that they didn't do, or get caught
yeah,
up in a gang. All that was pressure. And then just with a lot of other things that happen in the States and in the West. So over time I began to feel like lighter. It's almost like I was standing up strong, taller,
I'm
within
sure.
myself, because the stress was gone, and I'd look around and everybody looks like me. And so I'm not having that, looking over your shoulder or wondering, if somebody's going to say something inappropriate to you, or,
Right.
it's all of that we carry, all of the trauma from our past,
Yes.
slavery and all of that begins to lessen and go away. I mean, we still have to work through some stuff, because
Yeah, of course.
sometimes as people, especially Americans, we come over here with such a self-righteous attitude,
I'm sure.
like, you know, um, it's my right,
Being
and
entitled, the
oh my
entitlement.
goodness. Yes, yes. So we don't see ourselves as privileged in America, for example, right? We talk about white privilege, but
Hmm.
when we come here, we exhibit black privilege
Mm,
to the locals sometimes, and it's really disheartening. So something that you have to work on, to understand that this is a different culture
mhm,
too. And so
mhm.
you can't come and say, well, this is how we did it in the States, and I can do what I want to do. That's not that's not the right way. That's not the way of righteousness, right?
Right,
So
right.
it takes time though, because I can tell you, I was like that at first.
Yeah, because that's what we come from in a sense, and we
Yeah,
don't measure it until we measure it against something and be like, no, not me. That
yeah.
type of thing. No, not me. So the respect level, there's a different type. When I was in Ghana, I experienced a different type of respect towards me I mean,
Hmm.
as soon as I got there were women coming to where I was staying. They were measuring me to make garments for me.
Yes,
They
yes,
were they were just so they were bringing food. They
yeah.
were so kind and so it was just so warm. And I was like, oh, I mean, I
Mhm.
wasn't even used to that type of hospitality because the
Right, exactly.
hospitality is on a whole nother level. And not only
Hmm.
that, every shop, like when I was in the car riding through Ghana, almost every shop has a spiritual name. It's a
Yeah,
country that is very, very
yeah,
aware of
yeah,
spirituality. The
yeah.
supermarket, this store, that store has a blessing store, and all the
Right.
stores, mostly all the stores have,
They do. They
right?
really do. And the taxi cabs have it always across the back. You
Yes,
know, um, God is love, or
yes.
just all that. So yes, there. That is a wonderful feeling to be in the midst of.
So for
It is.
people who say people who aren't really believers or they just want to come back and they're used to a level of entertainment in terms of nightlife, right? Whether
Mhm.
concerts or plays, or what type
Yeah.
of cultural festivities are there? Like I know they have different things where people come from the States certain parts of the year and
Yeah.
celebrate certain concerts and stuff there. So what's it like for someone who is not a believer or who's not spiritually
Hmm.
inclined? Is there different activities, plays, and things like that?
Yeah, there's a lot of that. There's more of it in Accra, which would be the city,
Okay.
I mean, the capital of Ghana. So
Hmm.
Accra is very, very built up. It's a lot more like the States. And it's actually a lot more like New York to me because there's so many cars and so much traffic. But they have a lot more nightlife there. But in Cape Coast, they have it too.
Hmm.
Along the coast, all the restaurants, especially on the weekends, the young people, they come out and they have bands, and they have dancing, and so it's here. It's
And
here. It's not.
dining, fine
Yeah,
dining, and things like that.
yes. They have nice restaurants that you can go to, and they have other places where like just a little dive where you want to go
Local.
and get yourself some. Yeah. So they have all of that. It takes a little bit to find it. I think probably more so in Cape Coast than if you were in like in Accra,
Yes,
because so much of it there. But
yes.
yeah, and they have lots of universities here. So the universities put on like fashion shows, and
Mm.
they have different kind of festivals. And Ghana loves to party, so they have festivals all the time where the people are dancing in the street, and so it's a lively place.
Yes, I was in Accra, and I'm telling you, you're right. It was a lot. I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Hmm.
Wait a whoa. And then when we drove out kind of where I was staying, it was more calmer and more peaceful. It was some
Yeah.
compound or where they had us staying. And so I mean, this is just fascinating. It's just fascinating. Karen, tell us about the first time, because I know you've gone to Crystal, what is it? The Crystal where the slaves are. What is the name? In
Oh, the
Ghana.
Cape
Cape.
Coast Dungeon.
Yes, yes.
Okay, or they call
I
it
had
the
gone
castle, but we
there
call it
and
dungeon.
devastated me. So tell me about that.
Yeah,
And when was the first time? Because I'm sure and I think Donna, my cousin, said there's another one there. I didn't get a
yeah,
chance
there's
to go
two.
to that one. So tell us a little bit about that.
That is a heart wrenching experience.
It
I
is.
would say for most people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, to go there and to hear the tour guide tell you about the different stories and the different rooms that you may go into. And
Mm-hmm.
I can recall going into one room, and he was talking about how the room, I think, typically would hold like 40 men, but
Mm-hmm.
they would pack like 250 men in that one small space.
Mm-hmm.
These were the men who were refusing or were fighting back, and they would just leave them in there to die.
Mm-hmm.
So some of those things like that are very heart wrenching. And then how they would take the women and take
Put
them
them in that
upstairs.
box. How about that box when in the
Yes.
ground that they open, and a woman
Yeah.
has to stand in that box because she refused to sleep with the master. And then right
Yes.
above that
Yes.
was a church where they lived. They lived right on top
Yes.
of the property, and they'd open it up and drop her in because she would
Yes.
refuse. I had
That's
to
right.
run out of those places a couple of times. I was broken. I was
Yeah.
broken.
And for me, I could, it's almost like you could just feel the
Yeah.
presence,
Mhm.
of the, or maybe just the sadness of it, the horror of it,
Absolutely.
and when you were in there where they had the women and you see the scratch marks on the wall
Oh,
still,
mhm.
and things like that. And then hearing the stories about how they would come and take the women and upstairs to the priests, right,
Yes.
for them to
Yes.
rape them and then just toss them aside, and how these women would have to walk so far, like when you go to the last bath, and they talk a lot about that, how far those women would have to walk with the chains and shackles on them, and
Mhm.
they might be having their monthly,
Mhm.
they could be pregnant, and
Mhm.
they're naked, they had no regard for them as human, they didn't see them as human.
True.
And so you learn so much about how horrific it was. And
Absolutely.
then you add that to the trauma and the horrific things that happened in the US from where we came from.
Oh,
And that is where,
absolutely. And what about
yeah,
the door of no return?
yes,
The
yes, the door of no
door of
return
no
would take
return
you right out. Yeah.
to the water.
But the good part about it is now they have what they call the door of return.
Ah,
And so when we come, we go through the door of return.
awesome.
Hallelujah. Right?
Hallelujah.
We're back home. And
Yes.
it's such a good feeling. And you stand there at the water at the door of no return where they went, and they talk about how they were dragging them and they were fighting and clawing, and some of them would drown themselves on purpose because they didn't want to
Yes.
go. And that same water, we're standing there.
Right
And so
there.
we put our hands in it, and just to be able to say, we're back.
We're
We're
back.
back.
Wow,
No
that's
matter, they
powerful.
thought we would never return, but we returned.
That's
And
so
that's very healing. That's very healing.
Oh, that's powerful. Now I didn't get
Isn't
a
that
chance
powerful?
to that's so powerful. Oh my God. Just the feeling I feel now without even doing that. I mean, I know what I left feeling when I went to and experienced that whole situation, and I was trying to film. I couldn't even film. The filming became unimportant to me.
Yeah.
It was like, do
Mhm.
I even want to repeat and see this? Do I want to take this home and watch this? Like you said, the walls inside of the caves and the stench and the feeling,
Yes.
the spirit that's left in there was very, very, very hard. And
Hmm.
so the other place I've never gone to, and what is the name of the other
That's
place?
Elmina. That's Elmina Dungeon.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
it's along the coast as well. Um, but that's a different, well, they call a castle, but a dungeon, yeah. And
Yeah.
it's pretty much the same story. I think, I'm not positive, but I think the Elmina Castle might be bigger. But there was a mention. I heard someone doing a teaching the other day, and he was reading a book from the 1500s or something, and they mentioned it was the Pope mentioned about taking the Hebrew Israelites from Spain
Mhm.
during the time that they were enslaving them, and
Yeah.
he mentioned Elmina
Mhm.
in that book. Yeah.
It's so much, right, Karen? It's
Oh,
just
it is
so
so
much.
much.
It's so
It
much.
is so.
And I mean, I give you super bravos for going back and doing what you're doing and helping. Well, I'm coming in
Yes,
2024, not deep in 24. I'm talking about January, February. You will see
yes.
me there. I can't wait to get a hug from you. I can't wait to come back. And this time, because I feel so much more comfortable because I've met you, so I won't feel alone. Because I mean, I went to South
Yeah.
Africa by myself. My family was like, well, wait a minute. I said, I want to go for my birthday. I am going. They said, but you don't know anyone. I said, that is correct, but I want to go. And it was a nice experience, but it would have been greater and better had I had someone to kind of bounce off of,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
experience it with me. I wanted to go
Hmm.
to Soweto to Nelson Mandela's house, which I did, and kind of felt his presence, and the people in the street dancing. So it was a wonderful experience, but it's always so nice to have someone to bounce off of and to experience something like that with you. But being
Yeah.
that I didn't, I just went by myself, Karen, and I had a ball
Yeah.
on my
Yeah.
birthday. But I am coming back really soon. I think January, February, I'm gonna come. But you and I are gonna be talking because we've already bonded. When it's a bond, it's a bond. It
Yeah.
is
That's
what
right.
it is, right? It is. So, Karen, let's go to
That's
some of
right.
these comments. If some of you have any questions, come on, shoot them out so we can, because I don't want to hold her much longer because it is 11 p.m. in Ghana. Okay. So let's go to the top and see what some of you are saying, or if you have any questions. I tell you, you got the chat on fire, Donna. You got the
Oh.
chat on fire. You do. Okay, so let's see. What do we have here? I'm gonna scroll down and see. I did all of these. They were greeting you, greeting you, greeting you. Passing through. So glad you're passing through. And Nay is asking people to go to your channel, go to Arshan's channel. Now here we go. Um, oh, Superfood parents, I'm listening and lurking, but I'm supposed to be asleep before going to work tonight. She knew you were coming on. She's a nurse. And so she's like, I have to get some of this. So I want to get to a comment I saw scrolling a few minutes ago. Shalom, Auntie Kim. Your family is greeting each other. Hey, Auntie Val. Hey, Ray. Hey, Jess. Having a good
Oh,
time. They're having a good time in the chat. Hallelujah, finally to belong. That's what Denise is saying. But I did see a comment. It might be from Steve because he's active, right? Let's see. Everyone else is saying shalom and Emmanuel, things like that. And Nay is asking them to hit the like button. Oh, Lady Navoa says she's in Bible study. She's sneaking out to see this and listen to this. Lady Navoa,
oh.
thank you, sweetie. Thank you for being here. Okay, so P. Redmond, let's put this comment up. Says, can't wait to go home and see you, sister. Wow, the abundance of the fruit at your fingers. That is
Yes.
P. Redmond. Okay,
That's my sister too.
that's your, the family is in the house.
The family is here.
The
Yes.
family is supporting, and Model Mentor by Rachel Lawrence said, obedient trailblazer. I like that. That sounds like a
Yes, I like that
t-shirt.
too. I should get
That
that
sounds
as a t-shirt.
that
Yeah.
sound like a t-shirt, Karen. And then they
Yes,
is
it does.
saying, if you decide to go to Ghana and need help buying and building, Karen's company. Oh, she's shouting now. See, she's
Oh,
all right.
thank
My
you.
moderator's on point. She's doing her thing. Yes, she is. She
Yes,
giving me
thank you
email
so much,
account.
sis.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for doing that. Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, they say they love the name Possible. They love the name. They're talking about when you said the guy, the gentleman name is Possible. They're saying they
Yes,
love
isn't that
it.
wonderful?
It
Yes.
is a beautiful name. And then Pastor Rosa is saying exactly in a possible. I knew somebody and know somebody from Africa, and his name is Innocence. Innocence.
Oh, yes, I know someone named Innocence too.
You do?
Yes.
Okay. And then Pastor Rosa said, wow, this is so interesting and informative. And then
Oh.
your daughter is saying, wow, Black privilege, that's deep. Right, sis? That's super deep. The nerve.
I know she's gonna talk to me about that.
Sure, I'm sure. Then P. Redmond is saying, so transparent and humbling to admit that the privileged mindset was exposed and broken. Amen. Amen.
Oh
When we
yeah.
real and when you recognize yourself, right? We recognize these things. That's how
Yeah.
we break free from stuff to try to block and stop us, right? And so, yes, fascinating and surreal. They're talking about Crystal, about Slay Place.
Oh
Heartbreaking
yeah.
and life changing. Visiting that. Yes, 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 yes. And we're almost at the end of our comments, Karen, and I'm going to let you get some rest. Let's read this comment. P. Redmond. Um, I don't know what the UMPHF so said
It's
about the.
like
Oh,
you know.
umph.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, okay, all right. So sad about the horrific treatment of the women. Oh, yeah. Sister, as I was typing horrific, you used the same adjective. Face red, droopy. Yeah, 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 yeah,
Oh,
yeah. And then here we go with your nephew, Steve, because he calls you Auntie Karen. He says, I'm
yeah.
working on documents which seek politicians, states, and Africa so that VA medical. He's very
Mm.
informative. He is so informative. He said, Michelle, I'm so glad you get to go to Ghana and hang with mommy. I can't wait to hang with your mommy. You seem like such a sweet person. Thank you so much. You will have a ball. I'm sure I'm going to have a ball. I can't
Yeah.
wait. I can't wait. And then Rosa, Pastor Rosa says, this eased my fear of change. Mm,
Oh,
and
nice.
adjusting to change. That is good. She makes it sound
Yeah.
so beautiful. See, you just
It
don't
it
know.
is, Rosa. It is beautiful. You got to do it.
You just don't know how you influence someone, and that's what I love about the channel. To move you from pain to power and from power to victory in whatever way
Yeah.
you need it, whatever way you need to grow, whatever need you need to tweak, your fears, right? We have to break past our fears. So here we go with one more. I think this is your daughter. Yes, we so appreciate you, Sister Karen, for being a trailblazer. That's P. Redmond. I'm sorry again.
Yeah.
Steve said, "Do you?" Okay, here we go. Steve says, "Do you charge for consultation and how many minutes per one session?" That's
That's
what.
Steve. Yes, I do. I charge $50 for a consultation, and typically about an hour, or it could be even longer. I'm not trying to get rich off of it, but I do charge for my time, a little something.
And you, as you should. And I think that was a great question. Your
Yes,
nephew gonna take care of
yes,
you. He's a businessman.
yes, he is.
And so P. Redmond says, yes, Sister Rosa, I agree regarding breaking the barrier of fear. So you just don't know how you help people, right? You just don't know.
Yeah,
Just by chatting, having a real free flowing, no structure, just flow, let the spirit lead us. And Kim Cooper said, can't wait to see you next month. Oh,
that's
oh.
my
Kim.
sister. She's
All
coming.
right,
She's
Kim,
coming
you on
next
your way?
month.
Kim
Yes,
is on her way.
yes,
Okay.
she'll be here.
Look at that.
I cannot wait to see her.
Ronald
Oh,
Jones says, so proud of you. We will be neighbors soon. Look at you,
yeah.
recruiting everybody. You just
Well,
recruiting.
they already are building. Ron and his wife Frida. They're building
They're-
in Ghana already. Yeah.
Okay. Jesse said, see you next year. Uh-huh.
Yeah, she's coming.
Uh-huh. And here's the last comment for the evening. We make buying and building in Ghana a pleasant experience. Join our community and experience the best. All right, go ahead and plug it and shout it out.
That's my business partner.
Yeah,
Yes, that's
I
my
was going to
business.
say, is that him? Is that your
Yeah.
business partner? Okay, awesome. Listen, Kim Cooper said, yes, I'm on my way. Look, everybody's on their way. You got to build another house before we get there now, because listen, we all might bombard
I
you
know.
at the same time. Lord, what are you doing? Karen, just go
Oh
ahead and build
man.
some more properties. Oh my goodness. Listen, sis,
Yeah.
we have to do this again and again and again. I
I
thank
would
you.
be I would be happy to come
Yes,
back.
absolutely. It's open to you. And I'm so grateful and honored that, because I know it's late and it's like 11 o'clock now, and you
Yeah.
sacrifice your sleep, your time, your moment to be here with us in these YouTube streets, right? With Bravo, with Sheila, and all of the wonderful people up in the boonies, wherever they are, and in the
Mhm.
chat. We had an incredible time with you.
Yeah.
I'm going to say good night to all of you people. I hope you hit that like button. Thank you so much for supporting Karen in Ghana. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Your beautiful children, beautiful children and your grandchildren that are watching.
I know.
Oh my God, what awesome support. And probably some of the great grands. I don't know how old they are, but they're probably was sleeping or watching, right? And so Emmanuel Okim, I hate to mess people's
Oh,
names.
Chim. Oh,
Ochim
Chim.
says the
Mm-hmm.
continent is calling. Please pick up and come home. I am proud to be Black. Mm.
Oh,
And then Nay
that's
said, this was amazing. Thank you at Karen in Ghana.
oh,
Thank you.
Aquaba. That means you're
Aquaba,
welcome.
Aquaba. They said, good night, Karen. It was such a blessing. Denise is clapping hands. Bravo, bravo, bravo. My little claps and stuff.
Oh,
I have it, but I have to program it. I'm not high tech, but I have it. I just got to get somebody to help me with it. But anyway,
oh,
stay right there
that's
as I
okay.
close us out. We're going to close out with a soft, soft closing. And I want to thank Karen and Ghana. I can't wait to get there. I tell you, I am stirred up to get there
Oh, I'm
and
so
just hang out
glad.
with you for a while and just, learn more, talk about more, and bond a little bit more as sisters. Thank you once again. Don't move. Everyone, God bless you. See you again. Remember, when nothing changes, nothing changes. So you have to keep it moving. When nothing changes, nothing changes. All right. I'll see you again soon. Ciao.
All right. Good night.